Welcome, friends, it's the MovieFilm Podcast. MovieFilm Podcast, enjoy the show. Zaki, Sean, and Ryan are talking about movies. MovieFilm Podcast on the radio.
Welcome to MovieFilm. This is episode 17, brought to you by Mr. Boy Productions. My name is Zaki Hassan, and I am joined once more by my friends Brian Hall.
Hey, this is Brian Hall.
And Sean Coyle.
Ahoy, ahoy.
Ahoy, ahoy. That's what Thomas Edison wanted to be the official formal greeting on the telephone.
Ahoy? Or ahoy, ahoy?
He wanted ahoy instead of hello.
I think we should get that started.
Yeah, that'd be much more interesting.
Ahoy!
I think we should make that happen.
Mm-hmm.
Ahoy there.
Ahoy there, mateys.
Yeah. Just do pirate talk. I could see it. I could see it happening. So what's going on? What's new, you guys? Have you guys seen any good movies or anything like that lately? I know, Brian, you had mentioned you caught some documentaries.
Yeah, I saw Searching for Sugar Man.
Oh,
I've been hearing good things about that.
Yeah, it won Best Documentary this year at the Academy Awards, and I had heard a lot about this movie before I watched it, and that's definitely a disservice to this movie because it's all about these surprises. And it's still, I mean, it's very enjoyable, and I enjoyed watching it, but I wish that I had known less about it going into it. So if you want to watch something nice and sort of like, wow, that's so crazy, how can that be true, and you don't know a whole lot about it, it seems like something you'd be interested in, like a documentary like that, then I totally recommend it. The little I'll say is this, because, I mean, this is like the log line for it, basically. But it's about this musician, sort of a Bob Dylan-esque musician in the 60s. And everybody believed in him, thought he was really going to go far, and he cut this record, and it didn't go anywhere. And so as he goes on and lives his life here in South Africa, the album catches on like wildfire, and he basically becomes their Elvis. And people, bands are influenced by him. People, quote his songs. They have all these legends about him. And he went his whole life not knowing this. Wow. And the story just goes from there, basically. But I totally recommend it. It's feel good movie. And
I've heard good stuff. So definitely. So as we do with every episode, we start out with listener letters, and we've got some interesting stuff to share here. First up is a new comment that was left for us on our Facebook page, which is, by the way, facebook.com/moviefilmpodcast. And this is a comment from Loanne, who writes something very nice.
That will be pulled up on Zaki's computer screen thusly.
Finally found time to listen. 20 minutes into the first episode of your podcast. See, she's starting from the beginning, which I would maybe not recommend doing. I would say maybe start from the more recent ones and move back, but that's neither here nor there.
Yeah,
20 minutes into the first...
sound like poo.
Yeah.
That's our own insecurities talking here.
20 minutes into the first episode of your podcast while on the drive to work this morning. It's really excellent. I found myself participating like it was a sports game, chiming in agreement, grumbling, laughing, etc. I felt like you guys all expounded on my feelings about the Batman trilogy so far. I'm nowhere near fanboy status when it comes to Batman, but I still felt you all voiced my hopes, disappointments, and peeves about the trilogy, not to mention all the amusing sidebar commentary. Still got another hour left. Great job. Looking forward to the rest, Zaki Hassan and team. Which I want to rename our show, actually, Zaki Hassan and team.
I'm against that.
Wait a minute. Idea. Nay.
What do you guys think about that? So big thanks to Loanne for leaving that comment. That's
thank you.
Really, I mean, for me, that's always what the show has been ideally about. Is you're just hanging out with us as we're listening to each other and we're chatting. So if people feel moved to chat back to us, to me that says that we're doing something right.
Yeah.
And Lord knows we have plenty to talk about when it comes to the Batman thing.
So what was the question?
No question. It was just a letter. It was a nice letter. And by the way, she sent a follow-up message. This was actually earlier today that we're recording. Movie Film Podcast Episode 2 response. So I might have to create a meetup group titled No More Shame Movie Night. Watch movies that you've been embarrassed to admit not seeing. I want to laugh, but I don't know some references. I'm just into movie references. So we're either awesome or really nerdy.
Can't we be both?
Awesomely nerdy, perhaps?
Nerdily awesome.
Nerdily awesome. There you go. Regardless, I was still talking out loud to you guys as if it were a live show. So thank you once again, Loanne.
Yeah.
I really appreciate that. Keep listening. Keep sending us your thoughts and comments, because obviously...
If she's listening now, though, Loanne, when you talk to us, do we ever talk back?
That'd be pretty awesome.
Wouldn't it?
That would be, indeed.
Right now. Loanne, are you talking to us?
It's like traveling through time. Having a conversation with the past.
Did you guys ever feel that, what she's talking about there, where I feel, we reference a lot of movies, and I feel like I've probably seen more movies than a lot of people, but at the same time, especially at work, I'll hear people will be referencing something, and then they drop their jaws when I haven't seen a particular film. There's still movies I'm embarrassed that I to admit that I haven't seen yet, and that's always going to happen. You're never going to see everything everyone recommends.
Well, I have to stop myself from letting my movie nerd flag fly too high, because at some like knowing about movies is socially acceptable to an extent, I feel like. And it's probably, it's different for you guys because you're in the industry, but for me, it's like, as a teacher even, I feel like I have to tread a line. It's funny, actually, because earlier today, not related to teaching, but I go to this place to have my comic books bound, and that right there, I just realized as I said that, what a nerdy thing that's like what I just said. But there's this binder, there's this book binder.
I do it too.
Yeah, well, there you go, you and me both. So I walk in, and I've got my stack of things, and two of the guys that work there are having a conversation about which is their favorite James Bond movie. And one of them is like, well, my favorite is The Spy That Loved Me. And in my head, I'm like, it's The Spy Who Loved Me, stupid. And then the other one is like, my favorite is, what is that one called? The Day After Tomorrow.
Right.
And the other guy, I swear, and the other guy's like, I don't think that's one of them. He's like, no, I'm pretty sure that's it, The Day After Tomorrow. And I'm like, it's Die Another Day, stupid! I couldn't stop myself. I didn't call him stupid, but... I
have a couple of people I know that they call the PBS Masterpiece Theater show Downtown Abbey.
Oh, yeah.
And part of me is like, do I tell them? Because I don't want to be like that douche who's just like, actually. But at the same time, it's like maybe I'm helping them for further conversations that they have with people. Maybe that's what a real friend does.
It depends, though. Are they your parents' age?
No.
Because if they're your parents' age, then you don't correct them. Because it's just
is that the rule?
Let them continue to embarrass themselves in life.
Because it's just charming.
That's just charming. Actually, I'll tell you a story. I worked on this one movie, and there's a producer, and one day after lunch, she had something in her teeth, and we were talking, and I said, "Oh, hey, just to let you know, you just got something in your teeth. If you want to grab that," and she's like, "Oh, thank you." She fixed it, and then she came back to my desk. I remember like an hour later. She goes, "You know what?" She's like, I'd probably had that for a little while, talked to some people, and no one said anything. And she goes, and that's really embarrassing. She's like, a real friend would tell someone about that. And she goes, thank you. Like, I really appreciate that you did that. And that always stuck with me. So sometimes I'm like, oh, there's moments when you do, and there's moments when you don't. But that always kind of stuck with me.
And that girl was Dame Judi Dench.
That's right.
That's right. Thank you, love. That's what she said. We also have a new review up on iTunes, and so just a reminder to folks: please do leave us a review on iTunes and spread the word. Give us a rating; that helps us out. And the review is by Ray Novshesky, who's a very very old friend of mine. This is a little, I guess, inside baseball here, but I do want to give him a shout out. I've known Ray since 1999. We actually went to film school together. Went to Columbia College, and we've been friends since our first day of film school. And he's gone on to be a tremendous documentarian. He made a terrific documentary film a couple of years ago called 9/11: Press for Truth. which looked at the widows of people who died. The widows live in New Jersey, I believe, and just their quest for answers. It's very very profound, very very interesting piece. So a very old friend of mine, but he was nice enough to write a comment, and he says, "Smart, funny guys with great insights about trivial matters." And boy, that's us. That's us to a T.
I'll take it.
Yep. Awesome. I became an addict shortly into the first episode I listened to. Felt like I was back in film school listening to my knowledgeable, passionate film friends talk about our favorite subject over long coffee sessions. I love this review. I just want to say that. Because that's what the show is all about for me. So the fact that people respond in that way says to me that we're doing something right.
I love you guys. I just want to say that.
Okay, well, this just got awkward now.
No, it didn't. I love you, Zaki.
I love it. Speaking of Ray, he also emailed me just last week a very long article that he wrote with his thoughts on Zero Dark 30 and his issues with sort of the historical background. And I'm not going to get into all of that here, but very well researched look at kind of the shady underbelly of the story that underlies the actual story. And I don't know if he's going to put it out there for publication, but I do hope he does, because I think it's worth reading. I think a lot of the fire under Zero Dark 30 has gone out because it basically got snubbed at the Oscars, so nobody's really talking about it. But it is worth taking in a different point of view on that. So thank you, Ray, for writing that review, and thank you, Loanne, for your letter or your comment.
Thanks, listeners.
And folks, I hope you will keep sending us those comments and questions, because it's good for our egos, if nothing else. Moving on, I had a chance earlier this week to see a movie called Upside Down, which is directed by Juan Solanas, and it's a fairy tale, as the directors described it. It's a fairy tale about two planets that are so close together that they're essentially one on top of the other, and one is upside down to the other. And the way the story is structured, it's essentially a fable about haves and have-nots told in a very unique sci-fi way. So, well, actually, why don't we play a little bit of the trailer for that film?
Hey, I've been waiting ages for you.
I made it here, right?
I come from the only known solar system with two twin planets, each with its own and opposite gravity. Now, in our world, it's possible to fall up and to rise down.
3 thieves from down below arrested last week, raising interworld tensions.
We don't go down to their world, and we certainly don't want them coming up to ours.
We observe a full separation between worlds. There's to be no contact with those up top.
Imagine if we could go anywhere we wanted to.
Water, please!
Come on.
Quick, get him!
So earlier this week, I had a chance to speak with Jim Sturgess, who is the lead actor in Upside Down. He plays the role of Adam. And we talked about the movie, and we talked about some of his other projects. He also starred in Cloud Atlas. And we also talked about how he came very, very close to appearing in Guardians of the Galaxy, which is Marvel's highly anticipated space opera flick. So let's go ahead and listen to that interview.
First of all, thank you so much for coming on our show. I really appreciate it, and talking to us about the movie. I just watched it last night, so
Right.
it's very fresh. The imagery is what really struck me. And I guess right away, my question is, a script like this comes across your desk.
Yeah.
And it's a leap of faith. So what prompts you to take that leap?
Juan Solanas, the director, for sure. It wasn't. There was a kind of few stages. I read the script and I thought, well, this seems interesting, but how are they going to do this? How are they going to pull it off? Then Juan sent me some visual imagery that he was, these graphic designs, which was a sort of template for what he was hoping to achieve with the film. So that really threw me into the world, because without that, you conjure up your own ideas of what the worlds look like. But it wasn't until I sort of saw, you know, his vision of the film that I thought, wow, this could be really visually quite exciting, you know.
A movie like this, a lot of it has to be green screen and things like that. What was that first experience for you, seeing the movie for the first time, having been on this green screen and then you see it visualized?
Yeah, well, I mean, for one thing, it wasn't as much green screen as I had imagined it would be. You know, they really build the sets for you, you know. A lot of it was built on the set. I mean, all that was real, that was all there. I mean, obviously, it wasn't hanging up on the ceiling, but and Juan was really great at just trying to make as much reality for us as possible, you know. And we shot on location all around Montreal, and then they enhance the world by graphic design kind of around you, you know. But the basics are all kind of there. And obviously, there were days when we had sort of some stunts or something to do where it was literally, you know, you're standing in a green room on a green box, holding a green rope, praying that some talented artist is going to sort of fill in the world for you. But then when you see the film, it's just like, wow, you know, you're sort of living in a dream, you know. It's like when you watch films like that as a kid, or, you know, you just think, wow, you know, I'm so...
Yeah. Now, you mentioned the idea of trying to make it as real as possible on the set. For a story like this, there has to be a real human element as a performer, I would think, right? So I'm curious, what for you was the human hook to this story that made you say, yes, I can relate to this character, I can understand this?
Yeah, I guess you try and imagine the sort of lengths that you would go to sort of when you're truly, truly in love with somebody, you know, and just trying to get that heart and that warmth and just to, you know, understand him as a dreamer, you know, and just to sort of understand this drive that he has and understand that he has really very little to live for, actually, you know, and the frustration of what it must feel like to sort of be from a poorer background, looking and seeing this sort of rich world looming above you, and just the idea of actually at times you've got nothing to lose, you know. And yeah, just sort of speaking to Juan, 'cause it's a very personal story for him, actually. You know, he comes from Argentina, he comes from a sort of more of a third world sort of background, you know, and now lives in Paris, which is very beautiful and glamorous.
So for him, it's kind of a literalization of a metaphorical societal divide that he's probably experienced in his life.
For sure, yeah. I mean, he sort of took what he knows in reality and turned it into fantasy, which sometimes can sort of tell you more about reality than drama can, you know. You know, most fairy tales have a sort of very strong sense of some metaphorical understanding of something bigger, you know.
Yeah.
And I think the film does that quite well, you know. It's kind of, you know, it is and should be just a really fun ride, love story, fantasy, fairy tale, you know, just lose yourself in the fantasy of it. But, you know, woven pretty delicately underneath it is some pretty strong subject matters, you know, that he's kind of addressing and discussing that don't interfere or get in your face or kind of get rammed down your throat at all, you know.
Right.
So yeah, you know, it's nice to know that you're doing something and it's not just pure fantasy for entertainment pleasure. You know, it's just nice to know, you know, that there's just there's a little message, a
little weight to it.
Yeah, that lies within all this kind of fairy tale stuff, you know, and it keeps you moving forward. You know?
Your name was being mentioned as one of the finalists for Peter Quill in Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah.
How far along did that get? I mean, was that something that...
Further than I ever imagined, to be honest. Well, yeah, I sort of went up for it. Yeah, you know, they're not films that I would go and see particularly, but then I really kind of started to kind of get really intrigued by it, you know. And I went to the audition, and I was called back for another audition, and I had a screen test, and I had another screen test. I think I got down to the kind of last two people. I think, and it was fun, man. It was just, you know, again, it was, you know, those films I was really, really, really excited about the idea of making a film that other people were really, really excited about seeing.
Oh, interesting.
You know, that's been rare in my career to make a film that people actually are already...
It's an event.
Yeah, people, and you know, I was amazed instantly by the fact that, you know, our names got put out there as a group of actors that had gone up for it, and everybody's writing about it and excited about it. And, you know, I just felt like I was in a place in my life where I just thought, yeah, it would be so exciting to make a film that people were really, really already excited about.
Wow.
Then I discovered more and more about the story, and and it felt like a kind of more like Star Wars than it does Spider-Man. Do you know what I mean?
Oh, okay. So this is their attempt to kind of do the space opera thing.
Well, I don't know, because I mean, it's hard, you know, you don't actually get to know that much about the project,
Sure,
you know.
sure.
So it's all kind of under lock and key, which is kind of crazy.
Sure.
But you know, obviously, it's
I'm sure you read up on the character.
Yeah, it's based on a comic. But what I realised was it's not rooted in reality at all. You know, this is up in space, and the character was a kind of space pirate of some sort. You know. So it was much more in the vein of sort of Han Solo rather than of dressing up in a sort of tight-fitting suit.
Sure.
You know? So yeah, and I guess you kind of your competitive nature kind of starts kicking in. When you go for the first audition, you think, yeah, this is a bit of fun, you know. Then you get further and further down the line, and then you think, oh gosh, shit, you know, maybe I really want to do this. Yeah.
But is that something you see yourself doing? Maybe doing? I mean, gosh,
course,
these superhero
man.
flicks are a dime a dozen these days. I mean,
Yeah, you know, I'm in this game just to do an experience as much as possible, you know. And whether that means doing some grueling, low-budget film shoot in the back end of nowhere, and that feels exciting, or whether it's to be in a giant, you know, blockbuster movie, which people are really excited about, that's equally as exciting. You know, you just try and do as much variation and as much difference and as much as possible. So you sort of put yourself out there to sort of try anything, really.
Yeah.
You know, and as long as you feel like that you're going to get something out of the experience. You know, then it's all worth it, man.
That's what it's all about.
Yeah, it's no point in limiting yourself to a certain style of film.
Now, Zaki, how come you're not that charming with us?
Because I'm not trying to impress you guys. That's what it comes down to.
I hate that answer, but I respect it.
It was just a pleasure to sit and chat with him. He just seemed like a very genuinely nice guy.
Yeah.
Just happy to be there, very down to earth. So it was a great conversation, and as you can hear, really, I thought very insightful too.
Right. Yeah, I saw that picture that you posted on your Facebook page. I was a little out of the loop on things this week, and that popped up, and I was just like, "Goo? What the hell?"
Yeah, one of those neat things. Yeah. On that note, we kind of left off with him talking about Guardians of the Galaxy and how he didn't get that part. That allows us a nice segue point into this week's Hollywood headlines. And right up top, who did get the lead in Guardians of the Galaxy? It was Chris Pratt, who you guys might remember from Zero Dark 30, which we just mentioned a little while ago.
And Moneyball.
And what's that?
He was in Moneyball.
That's right, he's in Moneyball. You know, I feel like... And for those of you who don't know, he's playing the character Peter Quill, which I mentioned in the interview, also known as Star-Lord in the comics. And as Sturgess mentioned in the interview, he is kind of this Han Solo rogue figure who heads up this team. The more I'm hearing about this movie, the more excited I am.
I still stand by. I still stand by my original thought, which was just kind of like, why this movie? Like, of all the properties Marvel has to offer, like, why?
Well, why do you think that, Sean? Why do you think they're doing it? Why do you think they're going to Guardians of the Galaxy?
I don't know. Maybe, you know, with new Star Wars stuff coming out, it's going to be space stuff.
Compete with
be all
space.
the rage again, but. I mean, it's the same company. It's Marvel and Disney. And...
Yeah, I'll say that's very forward thinking on their part then, because I mean, you know.
Well, I don't think they knew.
Well, I don't. Yeah, I'm saying I doubt. I mean, yeah. I don't know if.
I don't think this. I don't know. I'm just like this as like the big tentpole movie. Just I don't see a lot of ways that this can be a success. So like Jim Sturgess, I don't think he's really missing out on not having gotten this role.
So Sean, your prediction is that Guardians of the Galaxy will be the first Marvel Studios disappointment.
Yes.
Okay.
I'm predicting it on like the sort of Tron legacy.
Okay.
Like in the long run, it'll probably make its money back. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Shots fired, folks. You heard it here, folks. Let's mark this down and see if Sean is proven right when Guardians of the Galaxy comes out, and I think it's in August of 14. Other casting news. Speaking of Zero Dark 30 cast members, a lot of movement on one of the movies I'm very much looking forward to, which is Dawn of the Planet of the Apes. We've got Gary Oldman, we've got Kerry Russell, and Jason Clarke all joining the cast of this movie, which I got to be honest, I heard this casting news, and it's just phenomenal, I think. The minute you throw Gary Oldman in there, I'm like, done deal.
Yeah.
You're aware you called him Old Man, right?
That's not his name?
I just didn't know if it was a joke or not. When you were
Gary Oldman?
It's got Gary Oldman.
Well, did I say that?
Yeah, you're going to listen to this episode and be like, no, but...
Yeah. No, I meant it on purpose. If I said it, I meant it on purpose.
Apologies, Gary Oldman.
But yeah, kind of interesting because Kerry Russell is in it, and this is kind of a reunion for her with Matt Reeves, who's directing, because Matt Reeves, of course, created Felicity.
Yeah.
So I guess we know how she got the gig.
She's having a good go of it lately. She's got that show, The Americans, on FX.
Yeah, have you seen that show, Brian?
No, I haven't had time, but I've heard it's good, so I mean to check it out eventually.
Oh, okay, there you go.
I thought J.J. Abrams created Felicity.
Matt Reeves and J.J. Abrams together.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, the same way Abrams and Lindelof both created Lost.
Right.
Your buddy, Damon Lindelof?
Boo.
Other more like follow-ups from last time. We have last time we said with a certain degree of assuredness that Sam Mendes would be back to direct James Bond 24.
And we totally meant it.
And we absolutely did at that time.
What?
But turns out, funny story, Sam Mendes will not be back to direct Bond 24.
Oh.
So that makes our last show just incredibly awkward and uncomfortable.
We might as well just delete it from iTunes.
Yeah, it's hang your head in shame,
Yeah.
you guys.
Well,
I blame you guys. We have a quote from him here. This is from Deadline. A quote from Sam Mendes. He said, "It's been a very difficult decision not to accept Michael and Barbara's," that's Michael Wilson and Barbara Broccoli, the producers, their very generous offer to direct the next Bond. Directing Skyfall was one of the best experiences of my professional life, but I have theater and other commitments, including productions of Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, which to me...
Boring.
How dare you? How dare you abandon Bond to do Charlie and the Chocolate Factory?
Like a stage production of Charlie and the Chocolate Factory?
Yeah.
Boring.
You know what? That's fine, Sam. Bond didn't even want you that much. Yeah.
All right. Whatever.
In other could have been, would have been news.
Wait. You know who they should get for the next Bond movie?
Who's that? To direct it?
Yeah. Listen, hear me out.
Uh-oh.
Edgar Wright.
Okay, so moving on.
I'm serious. Think of a Bond movie directed by Edgar Wright.
Yeah.
Make the case. Make the case, Sean.
Right now?
Yes.
The case is it would be awesome.
Okay. Thank you, Sean.
The end.
That's why we get paid the big bucks, folks.
That's right. And otherwise, it would be dumb.
You guys are going to be thinking about this tomorrow or in the shower on the drive to work.
I stopped thinking about it.
You're going to be like, you know what?
I was about to say, I think you're going to lose that bet.
I love Edgar Wright, definitely, but I don't know. I like to see him do his own take on a spy film, sure, but I don't know.
I'm not saying it has to be
for the canon of James Bond. I don't know.
I would agree with that. Yeah. Unless he brings like video game fights into the middle of it.
Okay, well now you're turning me on to this.
In other corrections from last time, we said with a certain amount of assuredness that director Rupert Wyatt was going to be helming the Equalizer movie.
Which is absolutely true.
Which is absolutely, it was true as we knew it at that time.
Okay.
Because as it turns out, Rupert Wyatt broke off talks to direct the Equalizer. Again, this is per Deadline. He had another obligation, so I don't know what that means, but we're 0 for 2.
Like an appointment that he had to...
Well, apparently, I mean, this is 2 movies Rupert Wyatt has bailed on, because he bailed on Dawn of the Planet of the Apes and he bailed on The Equalizer, too. So, I don't know.
It'd be funny if he's working on a Charlie and the Chocolate Factory stage.
Everything comes together.
That's like the Hollywood excuse for like my dog ate my homework. No,
yeah. Oh, this is Charlie Chocolate Factory production.
I got this Roald
into.
Dahl adaptation I need to do. Another follow-up from last time, we mentioned how Megan Fox had been cast.
It's easy to get them confused.
Yeah, I do it all the time. which has led to some very awkward internet searches. Megan Fox, however, she's been cast as April O'Neil in the TMNT movie that Michael Bay is producing. You know, I realize we keep calling it Michael Bay's Ninja Turtles. It's actually being directed by Jonathan Liebsman, who did, you know, Battle LA or whatever that movie was. And yeah, exactly. That's the international title, actually.
Yeah.
And then he also did Wrath of the Titans, which is, as it's known internationally, Sean. That's right.
I didn't see that one.
You know, I will say
comment.
I did see it, and it's better than Clash of the Titans. But that's sort of like, do you want to get kicked in the balls once or twice? Yeah, think about that one. Anyway, Ninja Turtles co-creator Peter Laird had some thoughts about Megan Fox playing his character, and
I got the quote here. I'm sorry. He says, I think it is safe to say that there are probably hundreds of better choices for the role of April O'Neil. Of course, her name has promotional value, and maybe that's what they want. Who knows? I can't get myself too worked up about it.
So that's Peter Laird saying, I'm just going to sit back and and count my cash.
Yeah. He's like, I know why they did it. I think it's a bad idea. Who cares?
But whatever.
Yeah.
and you know what? I love that attitude.
I kind of feel on the same page. I'm like, of course there are. I 100% agree. There are 100 better choices. Yeah. I totally get why they did it. Moving on.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, as long as the check clears.
Yep.
You know.
So there's that.
Other news that just broke earlier this week, and this is kind of big actually. I think, assuming it's true, it's pretty big. And this is, you know, we've been talking about the Justice League movie that Warner Brothers is so desperate to get out there, and it's just not happening. It's not coming together. They wanted Ben Affleck to do it. They had George Miller doing it at one point. I mean, this is like the never making movie basically, and so they've now, this is per a report at Latino Review. So their scoop is that Warner Brothers has turned to Christopher Nolan and said, "Help us, Christopher Nolan. You're our only hope to get the Justice League movie made and out the door." And according to Latino Review, the goal now is to tailor the Justice League movie to fit in with the Dark Knight movies so that they can have Christian Bale come back and play Batman.
Worst possible idea.
Okay. Well, Sean, why do you feel that way?
Because those characters do not exist. They can't exist believably in Christopher Nolan's Batman universe. They can't. It's just, they're not, it's apples and oranges.
Well, it remains to be seen if the Man of Steel Superman flick that's coming up exists in a similar universe.
Right.
You know, since Christopher Nolan sort of guided the story from what I understand, produced it, I guess maybe this is an experiment to sort of see if they can further this grounded reality with these superheroes in it.
According to that, those early screenings, though, the movie is supposedly not more lighthearted, but not as dark and sort of depressing as the first trailers have sort of made it look, though, right?
Yeah, but I saw one of the comments said that it felt like a Nolan story directed by Zack Snyder. So Snyder's visuals and a very Nolan-esque story. So that's interesting.
I think Nolan could make a great Justice League movie, but if the plan is like, no, make it fit in with Batman so we can have Christian, that's awful.
Yeah, and actually, to that point, you know, we were talking about the Man of Steel, how there was an early screening, and that report actually broke via Paul Shirey at JoeBlow.com.
Woo-woo.
And Paul was citing a source that's a mutual friend. So I mean, that you know, it came from somebody who's very reliable, which is kind of exciting. And by the way, it's very exciting to see Paul's story just shoot across the internet.
Yeah.
And get cited by like every, you know, geek news site basically.
Yeah.
Good job, Paul.
Which is very cool. So kudos to Paul for that. And the points that were bulleted in the original article Imagine a Nolan story with Snyder effects action, which you just mentioned. The person says it's the best movie of the year, which is probably overstating it a bit. There's tons of action with Superman kicking all kinds of ass in his suit. The cape is CG'd most of the time, so it can look awesome. They've intentionally left out most of the super action in trailers to save it. It's not nearly as dour and serious as the trailers suggest. And the movie is complete, minus the 3D post-conversion, which is currently taking place. So all of those have me very excited.
Yeah. Those are all the things I want to hear.
Yeah, so it seems like so far so good as far as that. Now, if this news is to be believed about Justice League, here's where I stand, honestly, at this point, and I said this to you guys in our very first episode when we were talking about Dark Knight and my Dark Knight Rises and my issue with that. I think that at the end of Dark Knight Rises, Christopher Nolan broke the vase.
Yep.
There's just too many pieces that need to be fixed now. And that's not to say that they can't be fixed, but they shouldn't have to. Because if we're doing a Justice League movie that picks up after The Dark Knight Rises, we then have to explain how Bruce Wayne becomes Batman again. We have to explain what happened to John Blake.
They're going to waste too much time trying to fix this mess that he's created.
Yeah, and
it's going to get in the way of
so
telling
to
Justice
me,
League story.
Yeah, and as much as I love Christian Bale as Batman, I'm ready for that version to be done. I mean, I don't know, Brian, what do you think?
It's just funny. Sean's just like, that mess that he made. I don't know if I feel that intense about it. I mean, not intense, but I mean just that. I've always been comfortable with the. You guys have been reading comics a lot longer than I have, and something that I always found interesting when I started reading them when I was older was that there is not one. There's no one canon necessarily. Right. Like different writers tackle different takes on the same characters, right. And this Batman storyline, he's like this, and then there's a whole nother thing going on at the same time as a different version. And that was sort of like, it was really interesting to me. So anyway, that's how I look at Christopher Nolan's movies, where they're Christopher Nolan's Batman, and that's just the stories he wanted to tell, and it exists in that universe, and I'm completely comfortable still looking at the Tim Burton Batmans and saying,
right. No, I agree with you, Brian.
I don't feel like either one breaks the other. I don't.
Well, but that's my question to you then. Do you think that they should let that version stand, or do you think they should feel compelled to carry that version forward?
That said, I don't feel like they should feel compelled to carry it forward. Like I'm happy with it existing on its own, and even if he did things that haven't been done in the comics, I don't care. That's Nolan's interpretation, and you can like it or leave it. But I think he did make a very definitive version that doesn't allow for a lot of wiggle room for some of the other things in the DC universe. So I think. Yeah, I'm not so sure how a Justice League movie would exist in that universe, and that's okay. I'd say move on.
I want to see a Batman who's not wearing a big rubber suit.
Well, you know what? Never going to happen.
You think so?
I just don't. I think that we are locked into that forever and always now.
In the live action versions, yeah, I think
correct.
So.
Yeah,
because it's the only way we can accept it. I mean, if you see a guy walking around with like a gray. Cloth leotard on. I don't think people. Yeah, I just don't think people could do it.
Well, how about this, you guys? What if they just have Christian Bale as Batman and there's no explanation?
Like this.
I think those movies are so familiar and revered and in our consciousness that you'd have to.
There's no way to just ignore The Dark Knight Rises.
No. Well, I mean. I know people are sort of split on that or whatever, but I mean, The Dark Knight is like The Dark Knight. Like,
right.
Whether people even like the other films, like that film is pretty respected, and right. I'm gonna go. It's iconic. It's an iconic movie.
No, yeah, well, right, and I don't disagree with that. I'm saying maybe the solution to the continuity problem is just ignore the continuity,
and just make up that it took place between.
Well, I mean,
2 and 3.
Who's to say this needs to exist in that universe? You just happen to have the same actor.
Yeah, I mean, I think people like us could accept that, but I think most people probably could not.
Probably wouldn't. They'd be like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. Now, speaking of Christopher Nolan, he also has another project that's due out that he's working on right now. It's called Interstellar.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Brian, what's this one about?
Interesting you asked that. I looked up what the log line was for this, and it amused me. And let me explain why. When Inception was being announced, of course he wants to play very coy and he doesn't like to give things away, and he's very good at that. Things don't leak from his movies. And when Inception was being introduced or explained what it was about, this is what they said about Inception. It's a contemporary sci-fi actioner set within the architecture of the mind. And you're like, what? Like I remember hearing that sentence and being like, okay, so you're not going to tell me. And then it turns out it goes so much further than that, and that was actually kind of a clever way to say not a whole lot about it. Anyway, with that in mind, this is what they said about Interstellar. A heroic interstellar voyage to the furthest reaches of our scientific understanding.
Good times.
As soon as I read that, I remembered the description for Inception years ago. But
that's really funny.
Yeah, but it's based on a script. I guess he's going to be writing and directing, is what I read, and it's based on a script that his brother Jonathan Nolan wrote, and Spielberg was involved with this for a while.
Wow.
So,
and the script is based on some like scientist theory about the universe too, right?
Yes. Yeah. It's based on, and I thought that actually when I read that it's based on some theory, so people will probably already start digging and reading that guy's book and trying to figure out what it's about.
Nice.
My mind is going to be totally effed. That's what I'm expecting.
Speaking of Jonathan Nolan, I want to bring up his TV show. He created a TV show called Person of Interest, which airs on CBS. It's in its second season right now, and it's a great show. I really like. If for those of you listening who dig Batman and kind of that whole the Nolan approach to those characters, the Batman universe, you got to watch Person of Interest. It's kind of like a TV version of the Nolan Batman. Really worth watching, and it's got Jim Caviezel as the main character, and it has Michael Emerson from Lost as kind of the Alfred / Lucius Fox type character. Nothing really I can say in a soundbite to sum up the premise, but it's worth watching. That's what I would say. It's like made for TV Batman, and not the Adam West kind.
Yeah, you've been saying that for a while now, and I still haven't seen it. But
I'm a big fan of that show, so yeah, definitely check that out.
Cool. Is Michael Emerson ever like, "Follow me, Jesus, all your questions will be answered"?
Basically, that's the pitch in the first episode.
He would always be like, "Explain it to me, Benjamin," and he'd be like, "There's no time, John." Remember that? That was like his answer to everything. Like, we don't have time.
Yeah. Follow me to the hatch. There's no time to go to the hatch.
I was always like, yes, there is. Just answer it fast.
Just hurry up. Walk and talk.
Yeah, exactly.
As we do every week, we have some Star Wars news.
Brian,
Thank you.
Oh, man. We're so lame.
Brian,
so lame. So there was rumors that, the original cast, the cast from the original trilogy, I should say, were going to make appearances in the Star Wars Episode 7, and Carrie Fisher did an interview with a magazine and said, yes, I'm going to be in it. And then the very next day, her manager or publicist or someone from her team was like, no, she's not. Like, she did not say that. Strike that from the record. And interestingly enough, then there was an interview with George Lucas in Business Week.
Yeah.
And it basically chronicled the whole how Disney acquired Lucasfilm and what went into that and where we're at now. And the interviewer just asks George Lucas straight out, so look, is the original cast going to be in there and in the new film? And Lucas says, this is the quote, we had already signed Mark and Carrie and Harrison. This is, it sounds like before, oh, I'm sorry, he continues. Or we were pretty much in final stages of negotiation. So I called him to say, look, this is what's going on. He pauses. Maybe I'm not supposed to say that. I think they were going to announce that with some big whoop-de-doo. But we were negotiating with them. Then he adds, well, I won't say whether the negotiations were successful or not. So basically, retired George Lucas just don't give an F.
Him and Peter Laird are sitting together counting their money.
Yeah. So
that article you mentioned, by the way, was phenomenal.
It's very good. Yes. Look it up. Business Week. and it's very interesting. The steps that happened, and
yeah, I mean, it basically takes us from the first inkling of the sale to now where we're at, and it was, it confirmed a lot of the stuff that we talked about in our show, like right after the sale happened, where, I felt like it gave us a real insight into George Lucas's mindset, and I don't know if this is the right word, but I found a poignancy to it almost, where, he talks about how it's just like, who wants to put their blood and sweat and toil into 10 years of doing these movies and just get crapped on
right
by people and be accused of all kinds of stuff? And it's funny because we all heard the refrains, George Lucas raped my childhood and all that, all the excess. And hearing his response to that definitely puts that in perspective a little bit, where you're like, yeah, people did or do go over the top with that.
Yeah.
It still applies to Indiana Jones, by the way, but
yeah, we'll never forgive
but not
Crystal
Star
Skull. But otherwise, man, you know what? He's just a human,
never.
guys. Leave him alone. But
Well, he also
I
talks
I'm sorry. I was just saying. I thought the most interesting thing in the article, though, was Robert Iger and George Lucas were having this breakfast or something. I don't know.
Bob Iger, by the way, is the president of Disney.
Yes, sorry. And they were, and I guess Iger just sort of threw it out there, just like, so you ever, you're gonna sell, Star Wars, Lucasfilm, whatever. And Lucas was like, yeah, I've been thinking about that lately. Like, come back to me. So, in so many words. And it said Iger had a really hard time, like, trying to conceal.
Yeah.
like what? Are you serious? Like what? Can you imagine? Like
Really?
Lucas actually saying that to you? Like when we would have never conceived that he would ever sell that off. Like,
yeah, I mean, who would
before
have
it
thought
actually
that?
happened. And to think like come back to me. Like what? Are you serious?
Well, I know somebody who was like, "Oh, come on! I knew this was happening. This was in the works for years," and it's just like, "Shut up! No, you didn't."
No, I know for a fact that there I'm not going to get in trouble for saying this, but there was like a handful of people who basically kept this thing a secret for almost a full calendar year.
Wow,
amazing! This kind of news, they were able to keep it under wraps for almost a full year, and then it was
that's like, I know something you don't know. Oh boy,
yeah.
Wow. Yeah, in the article, there's also a little piece where it talks about when Lucas finally signed the contract.
Yeah.
And I was just like, it says something to the effect like he was saying goodbye.
Yeah. Yeah.
And again, I found that very touching for some reason. Or it's just like, this is, and I know that we mentioned this in our previous episode long discussion. It's like, what is the price for your entire life's work?
Yeah.
$90.
$90. What must it be like to walk away from that? I mean, how it can't have been easy,
Yeah.
Because there's no turning back at that point,
Yeah. Yeah, and then there's I forget the context exactly, but he was like involved in some sort of spitball session where they were talking about the new films, I think it said, and he would chime in every now and then and be like, no, like there's no wheels in this universe,
right?
Like it's all magnetic energy, like they hover, and it's just funny because I mean it's his brain, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It all comes from him, and that would be really weird to feel that passionately and to know that much about that thing, have it mean that much to you, and then just have to like leave it in someone else's hands.
Well, and the idea that at some point he will offer a suggestion that will be disregarded.
Yep. Yeah.
And I mean, I don't know, that's very interesting, and it signifies just how life goes on. You know what I mean? And Star Wars will outlive George Lucas, like it'll outlive probably a lot of people,
Yeah, not me.
You're gonna live forever. So in other news, a couple weeks ago, actually the day before our last episode came out was Oscar night, and I know Sean, you make it a point not to watch the Oscars.
Correct.
Is this true?
Okay.
I don't know if I knew that.
Yeah.
Yeah. We tuned in for like the last half hour to see the big actor and actress and Best Picture and Best Director awards.
Mm-hmm.
So Brian, did you watch the show?
Yeah.
Now Argo won Best Picture, and Sean, I believe you finally got around to seeing that.
Yeah, just last weekend. I liked it a lot.
Yeah. Do you think it deserved Best Picture?
I'm not surprised that it got Best Picture. Yeah, I mean, of the big nominees, I saw Life of Pi, I saw Zero Dark 30, and I saw Argo. So like if either of those three movies won, I would have been like, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's like it's not a movie that I would consider memorable. It's probably not something I'm gonna watch again. It's like you're never in the mood to just pop in Argo.
Right.
But I will say this though, I think it was a crime that Ben Affleck didn't get nominated for Best Director.
At the very least, nominated. Yeah.
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 It's quite an accomplishment to take that kind of story and that kind of subject matter, and not only have sort of the balls to, explain that point of view so well, like you had mentioned on a previous episode, Zaki. Like, he really, he sets it up like, okay, this is what happened in the history of Iran, and this is why they're angry with Americans. Start the movie,
Right.
But also like, you know what's going to happen in this movie. You know how the story ends. But I was on the edge of my seat the whole time, like especially that last half hour with the escape and all that. It's just like, no, are they going to make it? Of course they're going to make it, but it's effective filmmaking.
Spoiler, people.
You're still.
Well, did it bother you that the entire third act was fiction?
Yeah.
Is that true?
I mean, basically, yeah. I mean,
the outcome is true, but everything leading up to that is not true.
The thing right. on the spoiler, turn the volume down. The stuff on the runway.
Yeah,
I was like, that's a little too much. Did that really happen? And
that did not happen, nor were they pulled aside and questioned. Like, the actual story is like they got on the plane and left and came home.
Yeah.
The end, which is admittedly not as dramatic.
Yeah. It's so hard. I mean, like, it's funny because part of me is like, whatever, it's a movie. Sometimes you gotta amp things up. But at the same time, when I was reading this article about it, which I didn't know we were going to talk about this, so I don't have it in front of me, unfortunately, to cite. But he was saying, yeah, but this is how people are going to remember this event. People aren't going to read about it. They're going to remember the movie Argo, and a lot of it's not accurate. So I mean,
right.
is that what is that? I don't know.
I guess it didn't bother me. It doesn't bother me as much knowing that now, mainly because this didn't feel like it had any sort of. The movie didn't feel like it had any sort of like political agenda.
Sure.
Like it didn't feel like it was trying to prove a point or that it was necessarily based on something factual. It was like just an interpretation of an event, basically. Like it didn't feel like Nixon or something like that, where it's just like, oh, this is supposed to be this guy's life.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. It was meant to be just kind of more of a yarn.
Yeah. I mean the bones of the story, like what happened and how it happened. I mean, I think that's a pretty remarkable enough story as it is.
Yeah, well, and I think the film does do a very nice job of preserving the spirit of the times.
Yeah.
And the feeling. I mean, it feels like a very accurate depiction of the late 70s, early 80s.
Yeah.
And I wrote a piece that went up at Huffington Post just before the movie won Best Picture, and I made the point that there's a difference between fact and truth.
Yeah.
And a film can be truthful without necessarily being factual. So unlike in Indiana Jones, filmmaking is about truth, not facts. If you're looking for facts, there's plenty of encyclopedias and news articles down the hall.
Never ever marks the spot.
That's right. So, also, I mean, while we're talking about the Oscars, now I had this reaction as I was watching. Late in the show, Jennifer Lawrence wins Best Actress, and she's kind of walking up to the stage, and she trips. She gets back up, and she gives this speech, and I'm like, oh, Jennifer Lawrence, you're just cute and adorable.
Mm-hmm.
But earlier in the show, Anne Hathaway got up there, and she won Best Supporting Actress, and she was delivering the speech, and she started crying, and I was just like, shut up, I hate you.
I completely agree.
Yeah, this seems to be a thing. This seems after the day after the Oscars, the days after. There's been a lot of articles about this, like why people seem to dislike Anne Hathaway so much.
Yeah.
So I in all honesty, I thought that my reaction was unique, but when I saw that it was very widespread, it made me feel bad slightly. But I want to get to the heart of this. Why do we hate Anne Hathaway?
I'll first I'm going to read something that I saw from an article, and then I'll say my piece, and I want you guys to say yours too. But so Richard Lawson of the Atlantic Wire, I guess he told Hollywood.com, Anne Hathaway has got this theater kid thing where she adopts the mood of every situation she's in. Rude and bawdy on Chelsea Lately, poised and classy at the Oscars, etc., but wildly overcompensates every time. And I think that actually sums it up. And I think for me, I think we've talked about this before, probably when we were talking about Dark Knight, but I'm going to go a little hipster on this. I feel like I was disliking Anne Hathaway before it was a thing.
Yeah, no, I agree.
And I think it's for that very reason. I always felt like she just seemed like that kid, like that theater kid in your high school who was like the best actress.
Oh, totally.
And she was always acting. Like you had her as a partner in science, and she was still acting as your partner. And you're just like, it's just it gets tiresome, and it doesn't feel genuine, And I'm gonna go even more hipster on you. I'm not so sure I dislike her anymore. I actually feel slightly bad for her. I think the more here's her problem too. When she went up and she won her Oscar, the first thing she said was to herself and the rest of the world, because there was a microphone in front of her. She said, "What? It came true."
Yeah,
like she's in some sort of princess movie. And I mean, I don't care who you are. You're gonna Jennifer Lawrence. Everybody says they like Jennifer Lawrence for whatever. It's because Jennifer Lawrence would never say that.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like, so it's just she makes it difficult to like her. You know what I mean?
Dude, when she said that, I was like, "Shut up."
Yeah. It's just a person who like I could keep going on and on, but I feel like that person said it perfectly. Like she tries to adapt the mood of all these situations and overcompensates every time. So she just always feels like she's an actress.
Yeah.
And,
well, I mean, and I mentioned this, a couple episodes ago when we talked about her Anne Hathaway hosting the Oscars, and how it was this brilliant piece of performance art where you watch her slowly disintegrate her mental state. By the end, she was so manic. She was like Taz.
Yeah.
She would have started juggling chainsaws if she could have. Yeah. I mean, there's this phoniness, and it's the damnedest thing because, I mean, yeah, of course, we don't know her. Maybe she is the most.
I'm sure she's
person.
the nicest person in the world, but that's just how she comes off.
Yeah.
Yeah. To her disservice.
Now she was in she was in Devil Wears Prada a couple years ago. Were either of you guys around during the making of that?
Was I around?
Yes. Were you alive when that movie? Like, were you working at Fox when that movie was made?
Oh no, no. Well, I don't know. I might have been. I don't remember.
Yeah,
but
I was.
No, you. I'm sorry. You good?
Well, just do you have any stories to share from that?
No, but I'll say this, and this is why I think I don't dislike her anymore. I'm realizing she is good. She's a good actress when she's doing things that serve her strengths. And I think she's funny. Like, she was decent on Saturday Night Live. She's really good in Devil Wears Prada. Like, there's things she's good at. But, like, she can't do everything. Because then she feels like Anne Hathaway playing a person doing something in some of her films. You know what I mean? And so it just doesn't come naturally to her. And then it comes off like, oh, I'm watching this actress act. And it's uncomfortable.
Yeah.
But when she's doing things that she's good at, then she's good at it. And that's my...
See, and honestly, part of my antipathy is I think she kind of stunk up the joint in Batman too. So that's also some baggage that I'm bringing in.
Yeah, I'm somewhere in the middle on that one, but I'm trying to think of. I didn't see Les Mis, but I hear she's really good. I don't know.
You didn't see her 10-minute song?
No,
it's like a 10-minute close-up. Sean, I mean, what do you think? Where do you stand on the great Anne Hathaway divide?
Well, I agree with you guys. Like, we have to preface it by saying, like, I'm sure she's a fine person, and of
But
course,
now I'm
it's
going
like,
to tear her apart.
of
Say it like you
course,
mean it.
nobody wants to be, like, I would never want to be the topic of an article that's like, why do we hate Sean Coyle? It's like,
Right.
but I mean, all that said, it's like, and Brian touched on a lot of what I was going to say, where like, she just tries way too hard to fit in, and she, like, I think you said this, Brian, like she's winking at you from behind the camera whenever she's performing. It's like, look, I'm an actress, and I want you to know that I'm an actress, and I want you to think that I'm as good as I think I am, because I'm an actress. Right now, this movie that I'm in, I'm acting in this movie because I'm an actress.
Yeah.
It's just, it's insane. But like, one of the things that really, really, really bugs me is this sort of like, this sense of entitlement that sort of follows her around now. Like before Les Mis even came out, it feels like, and I didn't see the movie, but I know the story of Les Mis, and I know it's a musical, and I know for some reason the Academy wets themselves over, big movie stars doing musicals. And but it just felt like before the movie even came out, like there were sneak previews and critics, and everybody's like, oh, she's a lock. She's guaranteed. She's a lock for the Oscar. And I'm like, why? Like, because she's singing in some artsy musical, or because she has a good publicist who has somehow convinced, the rest of Hollywood that she's this new breed of royalty or something like that. I personally just don't think she's a great actress. Like, she's fine and stuff. She's fine in Devil Wears Prada. I actually thought she was fine in Batman. Like, she didn't bother me that much. But I don't see there's nothing about her that sort of like separates her from the rest of the pack. Like, Jessica Chastain in Zero Dark 30, I know that was a lead actress role, but that was an effective performance. Like, she was great in that movie. Judi Dench, who I actually thought Judi Dench should have been nominated for Skyfall, because that is an effective performance. She is awesome in that role. And I didn't see Silver Linings Playbook, but I mean, Jennifer Lawrence just looks unbelievably charming and natural, and like she just makes it look effortless, and it always feels like Anne Hathaway is just trying so hard, and she just wants to convince everybody that she's so great and so worth it, and it just comes off as being annoying,
Yeah, which, but interesting enough, Anne Hathaway was up for that role in Silver Linings Playbook.
Oh, is that right?
And I think it would have been obviously it would have been a completely different movie if that had been the case, because I think why that movie works is you have to really love those people, Bradley Cooper's character and Jennifer Lawrence's character, and you do for the, what the actors bring to it. And I feel like Anne Hathaway would have brought kind of like I'm acting like this person you're supposed to like right now. You know what I mean? Rather
interesting. So kind of a remove, like now, part of this, and I mentioned Jennifer Lawrence at the outset, and you guys mentioned her too. It's interesting how specifically the juxtaposition of Jennifer Lawrence and Anne Hathaway was mentioned again and again.
Mm-hmm.
And I'd love to get your thoughts on that too.
It's interesting because it seems like everyone's falling all over themselves for her right now, Jennifer Lawrence, which is
she's
interesting.
So bubbly and real and genuine, and she's like my best friend,
Yeah, I don't understand the like crazy love she's getting right now. Like I've always liked her since Winter's Bone, and she's a good actress. Seems like a likable person. Seems like someone you would like to be neighbors with or something. But like, it seems like it's such a striking opposite to exactly the Anne Hathaway hate. Maybe that's just it. I don't know. Maybe
because
light needs dark.
Specifically, like they're mentioned in conjunction with each other a lot, which I find very interesting. It's always I hate Anne Hathaway. I love Jennifer Lawrence though.
Yeah.
I wonder where that is. And before we talked about this, I was just Googling up some articles, and if you type in why do we hate Anne Hathaway or Anne Hathaway hate or whatever, you will get page after page after page of Google results.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we've tapped quite a wellspring. I mean, I'm looking at an article here from Yahoo Shine from December 7th of last year. Why do people hate Anne Hathaway? And it just goes down the list. She tries too hard. Shameless jockeying for critical acclaim. Yeah. Her Oscar hosting debacle. She reminds you of that girl you hated in high school drama club. She's always sporting a manic mega grin. It's like, Sean, you mentioned this. It's like, imagine having articles written like, why do we hate Sean Coyle?
I know.
I know. Let's go down the list.
Yeah. Yeah, she is a person.
It's horrible, you know.
I forgot
But it's like it's what you sign up for being, being an actress and being.
Yeah, you're right. I don't feel bad.
Yeah,
anymore.
she can dry her tears on the millions of dollars. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, you're part of the game is that your life is, basically public knowledge in a lot of ways. So it's like,
yeah.
You know what you're signing up for. Granted, I think like with paparazzi and all this other, all these other kind of things, like, I would like to think that there was such a thing as like wanting to respect people's privacy.
Yeah.
But it's just how the game is played, and
Yeah. You just roll with it.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
I just don't think she's a good actress. That's all.
And that's why I hate her. Now we talked about her Oscar hosting gig, and of course the person who took just as much grief from that was James Franco, of course, who decided pretty early on to check out. He was like, there aren't enough Fs I can give about hosting this show, and he took a lot of grief for that. But his career has continued on, and now he's starring in what's looking like the first big blockbuster of the year, which is Oz the Great and Powerful, which I happened to see earlier this week. And
I'm sorry.
Yeah, I got to be honest. I think I tweeted this. I feel like Oz the Great and Powerful should be called Oz the Adequate and Forgettable.
That's so weird because it seems like some people are kind of digging it. It seems very. It doesn't seem like super split, what I mean? But it seems like people are like, yeah, it's pretty cool, or there's people who don't, kind of like you, sort of like, eh.
Well, I mean,
Why do you think that is?
I mean, it's hard to say. I mean, in my opinion, it's just not a very good movie. And actually, to your point, Brian, yeah, I'm looking at Rotten Tomatoes right now. It's at 59% rotten on Rotten Tomatoes, so pretty close to a split.
Yeah.
But I posted a review that's up on Huffington Post, and fairly critical review, kind of taking the movie to task. And I love the comment that somebody left here. It says, "So it's true. Those who can't act, direct, or produce become movie critics, and not a particularly astute one at that. This movie was great in IMAX, excellent in 3D, and thoroughly entertaining. I would advise people to ignore the melodramatic rantings of the writer of this quote-unquote review and go with their gut for some good old entertainment value for a few hours."
Oh, Sam Raimi.
So, yeah. I was like, Sam, come on, man. So this person took it very personally. I just don't think it's a very good movie. I think that it's very shallow and empty. I think that the performances feel very removed. You guys mentioned, I'm pretty sure you guys said this when we talked about the trailer earlier or late last year, that it feels like sort of kids playing dress up.
Yep.
And that was my feeling throughout. Was that James Franco was absolutely miscast in a role that called for somebody much older, or at least somebody at least with at least a decade on him.
Casey Affleck.
Say again?
What about Casey Affleck?
Well, the original casting, who they had approached originally was Robert Downey Jr.
Oh,
that seems to make a lot more sense.
Yeah. And I, without a doubt,
like a charming con man who develops a heart.
Yeah, totally. And then when Robert Downey passed, they approached Johnny Depp. Kind of, those are like the go-to guys for this type of thing. I could even see Johnny Depp.
Yeah.
In my mind's eye, I could see like a young Bill Murray playing this role. I think that Franco, who I don't dislike, by the way, I think he's fine in the right role. This just isn't the right role. I think that he feels removed from the proceedings. There is a moment in the film where he plays this magician, the Great Oz, and a twister throws him into the land of Oz. So this twister happens. He's in a hot air balloon, and he thinks he's going to die, and he's screaming out like, "Oh, don't let me die," or "Save me, and I'll be good," or whatever. And it just that's supposed to be like kind of a defining moment, and it just feels. It doesn't feel real. And it's hard for me to articulate exactly why, but you just have a feeling.
Well, he
where something
looks
just feels off,
In all the trailers, he just looks like a disinterested actor, just sort of walking through this movie.
Yeah, and it's hard. I would argue it would have been hard to be interested because it's clearly blue screen. It's so artificial. You expect Uncle Remus to walk by and have cartoon birds flying around, because it's just it doesn't feel real.
Everyone got that reference?
That going back a ways for that one, yeah. She's this little kid, and you just don't buy her playing a grown-up. You don't buy Michelle Williams. Michelle Williams is Glinda, the Good Witch. That's not a spoiler. She's from the original Wizard of Oz. And she's a little kid, Yeah.
That's interesting you say that. I buy the Mila Kunis thing because if I saw her trying to look like a bad guy doing, I probably wouldn't buy it at all. But Michelle Williams, she's, I don't know, I think of her as a mature. Maybe it's just because of other films I've seen her in. I don't know.
No,
I'm not disagreeing. I just found it interesting that
I think it's her in this role specifically.
Yeah.
And they do some kind of interesting stuff. They do the Wizard of Oz thing where you introduce certain characters in Kansas who then reappear later in a different form in Oz, So you've got Zach Braff as the Great Oz's assistant, and then he shows up in Oz as the Flying Monkey.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And he was great. You know what? Give the monkey his own movie.
Really?
I'll pay $10 just to watch the monkey flinging his poo, doing whatever, because I was sold, man. Michelle Williams, she actually shows up early on as a character. This is kind of interesting, actually, as she's like somebody who's in love with Oz, and she's engaged to a man named Gale.
Mm-hmm.
So the implication being that she's Dorothy's mother.
Oh.
But that's like a thinker, where if you think she's like engaged to John Gale or whatever, right? And this is Dorothy Gale, right? And this is 20 years before Wizard of Oz, so you have this weird, interesting connection between the two films. That's the other interesting thing is that this is a film that's clearly meant to be a prequel to the Wizard of Oz, the MGM one, but it's not officially a prequel, so it has to sort of pussyfoot around that. Yeah, I don't know. It's gonna do well. It's already they're tracking it. They're saying it's gonna make $80-90 million.
Wow.
But what's very interesting is that just last week or 2 weeks ago they released Jack the Giant Slayer.
Yes.
Directed by Bryan Singer, and that's the big flop of the year.
A bigger flop than John Carter.
Which to me, I'm very saddened by the fact that that's like the barometer for flopping.
Well, which is interesting though, because then there was like articles written, and there was like, books and charts to be made on that. But Jack, it just seems like no one cares. Even though
it's funny.
A much bigger flop.
It's funny that you say that, actually, because I found an article. This was in the LA Times. 5 lessons from a box office bomb, talking about Jack the Giant Slayer. And it brings up some interesting points, actually, starting with the idea of how the marketing was just completely screwed up because they couldn't decide whether to target teens or preteens or adults. And so you have a very violent fairy tale.
Yeah.
They bring up Bryan Singer just being, straying too far away from what made him successful initially. The idea that by calling it Jack the Giant Slayer, they actually bring up, Sean, what you said, where is he a slayer of giants or is he a giant who is a slayer? So Sean, you are not, in fact, alone in that assumption. So
That's
there
me
you
clapping
go.
for myself.
And then, of course, there was the date because they kept moving it around and whatnot. But the other thing is that it says after Red Riding Hood, Beastly, Hansel and Gretel, and Jack the Giant Slayer, can we finally proclaim the fairy tale moment over? And
That's me clapping for myself again. This is all stuff we've talked about on previous shows.
Well, but here's the interesting thing. I mean that last point is immediately undermined by how well Oz the Great and Powerful is going to do.
You know what? I disagree though, because I feel like Oz, I don't feel like is like a gritty retelling of a fairy tale we're familiar with. Like I feel like that, like what you just said, Red Riding Hood, like gritty Red Riding Hood and gritty Snow White, and it feels like this trend that they're trying to force on us. Yeah. And it's funny because it's like they're taking classic tales But I mean, if you want to look at it more cynically or realistically, I imagine public domain stories that they don't have to pay for.
Right.
And then putting turning these characters into badasses with leather coats and, trying to make some sort of like Lord of the Ringsy sort of thing.
Yep.
And it's just
that's a good point.
It's no one asked for it. No one seems to like it. Like maybe this will end it.
Maybe this will put a stake through its heart.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good call. I definitely agree that. I mean the Red Riding Hood thing, that was to me the lowest point in this whole trend, where it's like, you don't know the real story of Red Riding. It's like, what real story are you talking about? Right? You're going to turn this children's story into Amanda Seyfried in skimpy clothes. I mean, it's just bizarre,
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was definitely the lowest point. Did either of you guys see that, by the way, Red Riding Hood?
No.
Okay. I would definitely. I'm not interested enough to want to see it.
Yeah. I know it's not. There's better things I could be watching.
Did you see Beastly?
No. Why? Why bother?
That stars Alex Pettyfer, I think, right? Yeah. So
and
and Vanessa Hudgens. Yeah, and that was one of those movies that I think was being set up as being. Tapping into these new hot young stars, and it just kind of fizzled because the hot young stars suck.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting. The little bit of insider knowledge I have about Jack the Giant Slayer is they didn't know what to do with it necessarily, and it was literally filmed and color timed a lot darker at one point, and they're like, too dark. So then they're like, let's lighten it. So they made the colors pop. And they completely changed the whole color scheme of the entire movie because they're worried about being too dark. So I mean, it's just they didn't know what to do with it.
I don't have the box office or the budget in front of me. Do you guys know what the budget was offhand?
I mean, it was $200 million, I think, right?
Yeah, again, I think that was what it was official, but I feel like I read something somewhere where they said it was into like 300.
Well, yeah, once you factor in marketing and
I'm not sure if it was even including marketing.
This is the only way this is how I equate it with John Carter, and I didn't see John Carter, but I still like to. But like, what idiot greenlit this thing? Like, yeah, we're going to give you $200-300 million to do a movie that nobody's going to see.
Jack and the Beanstalk. Yeah, I know. It's like what I'm not sure what they thought was the thing that, because when you make a movie for that much money, like it or not, it has to be something that pleases all four quadrants.
Yeah.
Below 25, above 25, male, female, and like, what makes them think that Jack and the Beanstalk is going to be the story that's going to capture the imagination of all these people?
You make it about one boy and one giant if you're going to do that.
Yeah.
And you spend $50 million.
No, it's about impossible, like an impossible friendship. That's
well, I don't know.
That's how you make that movie successful. Yeah, and obviously you don't spend $200 million on it. But
you spend 50 or 60, I would think, and
turning it into this like war movie is just stupid.
Yeah. Well, and circling back to Oz the Great and Powerful. I mean, this is Sam Raimi directing. I mean, it's very interesting because both Sam Raimi and Bryan Singer came to prominence really in a big way by virtue of doing superhero movies, and it's just funny how it just worked out for one, didn't work out for another when they branched out into this other genre. Disney's already good to go with the Oz sequel. They're already planning it, and Sam Raimi has said it's not going to have me. So I don't see room for a sequel, but apparently the Mouse House does. So I guess we'll be.
Well, there's how many books? I mean, there's like 14 books or something like that.
14 Oz books. Yeah, but this is not based on any of the books. It's kind of its own thing.
Oh, is that what you meant by unofficial? Or is
it's unofficial in that it's not connected to the film. So. Because the movie, The Wizard of Oz film from 1939 is very, very different from the book.
I see.
And the books are much darker. There's actually, I don't know if you guys have seen The Return to Oz. Have you guys seen that?
No.
Nah, I remember it, but not very well.
That's from the 80s. It's directed by Walter Murch. And Gary Kurtz produced it, actually, from the guy who did the first two Star Wars movies. Mm-hmm. And that movie is freaking crazy. It's absolutely worth watching because it is so insane, and I love the fact that that movie is basically the sequel to The Wizard of Oz, because this is the film where Dorothy is being haunted by dreams of Oz, and so her family sends her off to have electric shocks given to her. To shock. I mean, it's horrifying, right? So imagine you're a little kid. You go from follow the yellow brick road to there's no place like home to electrify the memories from Dorothy's brain. You know?
Yeah. I remember there's a character she can like screw her head off, and she puts different heads on, and it's
That's
like,
right.
Ugh. Yeah.
She has, instead of different wigs, she has different heads.
Yeah.
That's messed up. You know, so I applaud the fact that they did that. And of course, the movie tanked. Because, I mean, what parent is going to take their kid to... And they come back to Oz, and it's just all horrible and desolate and everything. But it's absolutely worth seeing. I highly recommend it, because it's just so out there. It is worth checking out. Moving on, we have some new releases that are upcoming. So, as we do every week, it's time for Trailer Talk.
Trailer Talk!
You know, we really need better jingles for our I think I just want to throw that out there. We are now less than 2 months away from Iron Man 3, and I'm finding it very difficult to retain my detachment, because every assemblage that I see just makes me more and more excited. And we just had the latest Iron Man 3 trailer released, so let's play some of that.
The Mandarin must be stopped.
You don't know who I am. See me coming. The whole world's gonna be watching.
The question, where is Tony Stark?
Things are different now. I have to protect the one thing that I can't live without. That's you.
Mr. Stark. Today is the first day of what's left of your life.
Okay. So, Brian, what are your thoughts on this one?
You know, I just don't know about this, guys. I don't know if this is gonna. I don't know that people are gonna turn out for this.
I just the whole idea. He wears a suit of armor. I mean,
no, it looks friggin' awesome.
Yeah.
Brian, you mentioned the Empire Strikes Back comparison, and you're not alone in making that comparison. I think a lot of people have gone that direction. This trailer really, I feel like it really ups the stakes, and it makes it feel very personal. For the main character.
Yeah.
Which I think is really interesting. I also, again, you really notice how they go out of their way to make sure the Mandarin, played by Ben Kingsley, is not even remotely Chinese.
Yeah.
Lest they offend our Chinese overlords who will be releasing this movie. They give him this accent where it's the Gerard Butler American accent.
Yep.
I'm going to kill you, Tony Stark.
Now you are a human, right?
Yes.
Right, I'm Gerard Butler.
Butler.
I may be seeing that this week, actually. Speaking of that, White House Down, or whatever that's called, or not White House Down, Olympus.
Olympus has fallen.
Yeah, I might be seeing that later this week. So wish me luck on that before I crack up. We talked before about how to make these Marvel solo movies from the Avengers and make them stand on their own. I think this is the right idea. You can't go bigger, so you go inward,
right?
And make it more character driven,
right?
I didn't think there was anything else that could make, based on what we'd seen prior to this trailer, I didn't think there was anything else that we could see that would make it feel more epic. Yeah. And then there you go, 50 Iron Man suits.
Do you think they should have shown that in the trailer? I think I watched it with some people at work, and we were all like, "Why would you show that? Like that's like the applause moment in the movie in the theater."
I totally agree.
But at the same time, I didn't care. I was like,
well, to me, it's like you didn't need to put it in because you've already got people's money.
Right.
Nobody is like, well, I was on the fence, but the 50 Iron Men,
right,
like turned the dial for me.
Yeah.
So it does feel like it's getting into that territory where the trailers just give too much away. But I agree with Sean. I don't even care.
Well, yeah, it's not going to turn anyone off or make anyone not go. Yeah.
Now, speaking of getting turned off, we also have Hangover 3 coming out.
Oh, I thought you were going to talk about the other one.
That too. We'll get to that in a second. But yeah, first, The Hangover is now a trilogy, which I don't know what to say about that. But let's play some of the audio here.
I told myself I would never come back.
Don't worry, it all ends tonight.
Someone needs to burn this place to the ground.
Ooh, I like that.
Can you remember me? I'm the one that picked the object. Can you remember me? I'm the one that picked the object.
We've been on a lot of adventures together, but it seems like you haven't learned anything. Anything. I'll be in the limo.
Now, what I've been saying from the time that I first heard they were doing a third Hangover was I want it to start at their funeral.
Yep.
Yeah.
And be the mystery of how they died. Because after 3 movies, it's not funny anymore. You're just alcoholics.
Right.
Exactly.
And it's a serious problem. So this trailer starts at a funeral, and I was like, holy crap, they're doing it. And then we see them alive. I was like, oh.
Yeah.
But there was like a brief second where I was like, oh my gosh, they took my idea.
They did it. Yeah.
Now, I didn't laugh. I got to be honest. I didn't laugh at this trailer.
I was thinking that too. I was like, didn't this trilogy, wasn't the first one a comedy? Like, what happened? What is this movie now? Like, what?
Well, it goes to how, I think we've said this before, how there is no such thing as a good comedy sequel. That's not like Naked Gun.
Right.
Right.
I don't know. Am I wrong on that? I feel like that's the case.
I don't know.
That's something we may need to think about, right?
Hot Shots Part 2.
Yeah, but those are just joke.
Yeah, but see, again, that's like a Naked Gun type movie, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, I see.
That's a good question.
Yeah, see? Now, Brian, did you like Hangover 2?
The second one, people were really hard on because it just completely repeated the first one. And I think my first attitude toward that was like, well, yeah. Like, that's the formula. Like, there's like a thing, they wake up, they don't know what's going on, then they figure it out. So it didn't bother me as much, even though, it did repeat the first one. Almost verbatim, but I was like, well, whatever. It was what it was. I didn't love it. I didn't hate it. It just was what it was. This one, I thought, I guess what I'm trying to say is I don't have like a huge investment in this franchise. So for this, I'm not like depending on it being good.
Okay.
You know what I mean? It just is what it is. And I have to say, I was sort of interested. Like, it looks weird and dark.
But it doesn't look like a comedy.
Yeah, but I mean, that's what this movie is all about, things being bonkers, and like these goofy, affable guys keep getting involved in shenanigans. And the first one was sort of like darkish by comparison now. Sort of fun shenanigans. Then they go to Thailand, and it's sort of like, whoa, we've upped the stakes. This is kind of crazy. They're in some real danger. And the third one looks like they're going to bring, Vegas burning down to the ground, which sounds like, I don't know, like, all right, go for it. Like, if you're going to go nuts, go nuts. So I'm curious. I'm curious.
Yeah. I don't know. Sean, did you see the second one?
Yeah, I wasn't a big fan of any of them. The first one had a couple of shock moments that you can't help but laugh, like naked.
When the baby gets hit with the door?
More so like naked Ken Jeong running around.
Oh, yeah, that too.
But like the biggest problem I had with the movies is that all these characters are despicable. Like, there's not a redeeming quality about any of them, and they're just idiots. It's like, I don't care what happens to any of these guys. Like, I'm not invested in, and I like these performers, which is a weird thing. Like, I really like these 3 guys, Bradley Cooper and Ed Helms and Galifianakis, but like, I just didn't care about anything that happened in 1 or 2. So like this third one, I was just kind of like what Brian was saying, but just a little more disdain. I was just kind of like, whatever.
Yeah. Well, I wonder if maybe lowered expectations will benefit it. I mean, I'm going in with zero expectations because like Brian, like you said, I didn't like the second one at all. So maybe I'll be pleasantly surprised. Other trailers, we talk about being kind of meh. This is a little bit different. It's Jay and Silent Bob's groovy cartoon movie. Let's play some of that.
You know, criminals are fucking pussies, man. I'm begging you, blow into my penis or I will die.
Yo, you want to get in on some of this action, Albert?
As God is my witness, I will have my revenge.
You won't get away with this. Bloodman and Chronic will save us.
This city belongs to the League of Shitters.
Now, as you're listening, you can't see the crappy animation.
Wow.
Of the trailer. Now this is just a little bit of background. This is a $69,000 Flash animated movie that's being given a sort of a roadshow release, so you can go see it for $40, which seems like it's maybe $39 too much.
Yeah.
Here's I want to hear you guys' take, and then I'll chime in on with my thoughts. Brian, what do you think?
I really, really like Clerks. I saw that, when it came out in '94. I thought it was really funny, and I just feel like with every single movie that's come after, I've liked Kevin Smith's films less and less and less and less and less and less. Mm-hmm. And I love the Dante and Randall characters, but this, I'm like, what am I looking at? Like, this is just insane. Like, it's funny because I have nothing invested in the guy, but for some reason he has bought so much goodwill from his earlier films that I still feel like this sort of weird inner defense for him. But this I feel like he is completely ripping off his fans. I really don't know. I don't know. This movie looks, and I feel bad because I guess the guy who animated it is like a kid who would take Kevin Smith podcasts or something like that and animate them. And so Smith was like, "Oh, this is cool," and so he hired this kid to do this movie, and it's just like such a cool story, but it doesn't look good. You know what I mean? It doesn't look like something. It doesn't look like something that you should be seeing as a movie and paying money for, and that's just the truth. And so it's just sort of like I don't know. I'm just wondering if there's gonna be a lot of cringing at these screenings for these people paying $40 for this.
Yeah, well, and Sean, as somebody who works in animation.
I gotta say, I really, really enjoyed the Clerks, the short-lived Clerks TV series.
Yes,
that ran on ABC. That was
excellent. Yeah.
This felt like it was done by a couple of 12-year-olds that were like riding the high of discovering their dad's porno magazines.
Yeah, the jokes were really lowbrow,
and it feels like, I understand, okay, Kevin Smith's probably throwing his friend a bone, but I started to wonder, because they were talking about Jason Mewes has been out of rehab for however many days or something, and I'm wondering, did the doctor pull Kevin Smith aside and was like, okay, now he's still a little unstable, so you probably don't want to tell him no for at least another couple of years or something. Because just imagining just the thought process of this movie.
I think I have a slightly different take on this, and not because I think it looks good. I think it looks atrocious. But I applaud what Kevin Smith is doing, where he's trying to find new ways of getting content out there, and I can respect that because that's what he did with Clerks. The idea, he's like, look, man, this thing cost $69,000. That's less than chump change in movie terms.
Right.
And by doing this kind of roadshow model where they take the movie from town to town, and you pay to see it, you pay to see them. I mean, maybe it will end up turning a profit or coming back in black. I mean, and let's say it doesn't. Hey, at least he's trying something. I mean, I don't know. That's kind of how I feel. I applaud the willingness to take a risk.
He's got enough fans that enough people are going to turn out of curiosity alone.
Well, because then it's every night is, like you said, it's this roadshow where there's this huge speaking engagement afterwards. So, I mean, really, the movie, whether it's good or not, you're getting what you want. You want to hear him talk. That's, frankly, what he's good at it, and that's what his fans like. And so they are going to get what they want.
Yeah.
But, I'm with you, Zaki. I do agree. And his podcast is really good, and he's trying different things.
Just imagine this, though. Imagine yourself back in the day before Clerks came out, and it's okay, the hype of this indie movie, and what if this was Clerks, something like this, you know what I mean? Like what
then there would be no Kevin Smith.
Exactly. Like you're talking about how he's trying to like break new ground again because of how technology is changing and how the industry is just changing. So it's like if you're gonna do that, you gotta make something good. It's like anybody.
Honestly though, here's what I say. I mean, 'cause I watched Mallrats fairly recently, and I chuckle at some of it, but I'm 20 years older now.
Yeah.
And I'm acutely aware of how low rent it looks and how the photography is very just whatever. And you know what I mean? Like all those things that we notice now because we're the type of film nerds that people don't understand. And a lot of the humor, like to me, it's like I like Kevin Smith a lot as just a personality, but what I've found is that his writing, I can only take so much of it.
Right.
And I felt that while rewatching Mallrats. I was like, people don't talk like this.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel natural to me. It's kind of like Kevin Williamson, the same on Dawson's Creek. I mean, Kevin Williamson is like the serious Kevin Smith.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And now those are things that didn't bother me back then because when you think about it, this is just my guess. I have no empirical data for this, but I that more people were inspired to just like pick up a camera and start shooting by the Kevin Smiths and the Quentin Tarantinos than even like the Steven Spielbergs.
We all were, yeah.
Yeah.
And not because they're better filmmakers, but because Kevin Smith and Tarantino made it seem like something that you could do, not something you would do eventually.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, but think back to those days.
Yeah.
Like, in film school, like it seemed like what you're saying, it was more than just picking up the camera and shooting stuff. We also tried to, make stuff that was like what they were doing. Like we all sort of wanted to do like our own Kevin Smithy kind of thing.
With the profanity and the...
Yeah, and it's like with this, I just like, if you're going to do it, it's cool. Like I agree with what you're saying, Zaki, where it's like, trying something new, but it's like, dude, put something good out there. Like you're capable of it. Like this just looks like trash. This just looks like weird porno, like stupid.
It looks like weird fan art. Like some fan made it.
You'd think they could have gotten better character designs, if nothing else.
Oh my god, yeah.
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 So this one's a question mark. I'm curious to see if any of us gets a chance to see it, what we'll say. Maybe it'll be a surprise. Maybe it'll be a pleasant surprise. I doubt it, but you never know. Moving on. This is a segment we haven't done in a few weeks because we've just been crowded out by so many other things to talk about. But I thought it was important that we make movies that matter a regular fixture once again.
I like it.
For this week's Movies That Matter, we picked a movie that matters to all three of us, and that is Goonies. Sean, tell us a little bit about Goonies, will you?
Yes. Well, Goonies. It's the story of a boy and his dog named Goonies. No, that's not true. Seriously,
you never seen the Goonies, have you, Sean?
If you guys out there listening, if you haven't seen or at least heard of the Goonies, then you've clearly wasted your life. It came out in 1985, summer of '85, written by Chris Columbus, about 500 years after discovering America. Get it?
Moving on.
No, it's funny.
1985, Cosby Show was top of the TV ratings there. Reagan was in the White House. This was produced by Steven Spielberg and directed by a post-Superman, pre-Lethal Weapon Richard Donner. By the way, according to IMDb, did you guys know he directed 3 episodes of Gilligan's Island?
I didn't know that,
Richard
actually.
Donner, huh?
Yeah, fun fact.
Wow.
Yeah.
I did not know that.
Yeah. And at the time, featured what was basically the cream of the crop of child stars. You had Sean Astin and Corey Feldman and Ke Huy Quan and Martha Plimpton, Cary Green, who we all remember as the Corey Haim's dreamy love interest in the movie Lucas, and just a bunch of other familiar faces. A young, beefy Josh Brolin, Robert Davi, Joey Pants. And the late Anne Ramsey. And yeah, that's the Goonies.
I'm
That's the Goonies.
Thanks, everybody.
No, I remember about the Goonies. The Goonies was like the ultimate sleepover movie.
Yes.
Like, this is the movie, like, when you slept over at your friend's house and you had a big group of kids over, it was like you watched this movie. And it came out in 85, so I was born in 80. I was 5 years old. So I was watching this movie when I was like, probably like 7, 8, 9, something like that.
Right.
And what was interesting about this movie is that it had these kids like cursing.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, I remember that being like, whoa, like hearing these kids talk like this. Yeah, I do. I remember that sort of standing out to me a little bit. And in that same vein, being directed by Richard Donner, what's interesting is this movie, even though it's a kids movie, it's not made like a kids movie. It's not shot like a kids movie. It's not lit like a kids movie. I mean, this is, it looks like it could be a Lethal Weapon movie. I mean, like, the action scenes are filmed well, and the dark scenes are filmed dark. And I mean, in tone, not even just, like, there's a lot of scary elements in here. And I think that's what made it so appealing as a kid. Like, this was one of the first movies you watched that felt like, you're stepping out of your cartoons and your, like, safe adventure films. And this felt like a dangerous film in a way for a kid.
Now, Brian, why don't you synopsize the movie a little bit for people who may not have seen it?
Okay.
Or just give a little bit of a
it's
setup
about a
of
boy and his dog is named Goonies. And
yes, we've covered this already.
No. It's about a group of kids, and they live in Astoria, Oregon, I believe, and they live in an area of town, and their houses are going to be demolished, and they're all going to have to move, and it makes them all very sad. So as they're sort of moping around the house, this group of friends, knowing their time is up as friends, they go up into the main kid, Mikey, played by Sean Astin. They go up into his attic, and they find a treasure map, or what they believe could be a treasure map. And so they set out to go, try to put some clues together. And what happens is they get sucked into this adventure, following this map. But also there are these bad guys, the Fratellis, who are also after the same thing. I forgot how are they aware of this? They didn't have a map.
No, they follow them size 5s, right?
Yeah, but it's escaping me how they got involved with the treasure.
The Fratellis?
Yeah, because their hideout was where the kids.
Yeah, because the kids discovered
first
the body.
Start their adventure.
Yeah, the kids discovered the body.
Yes.
And then the kids.
Oh, so they're just following. They're just following the kids.
They're following the kids because.
Okay, I see.
Yeah. And then they all.
Yeah.
Wind
So
up together. Yeah.
Right, and then the kids are thinking that if they can find this treasure, they can save their houses, and they won't have to split up. And what follows is like a whole series of booby traps and gadgets. There's a lot of like gizmos and things going on where things falling from the ceiling and pits filled with spikes, and eventually a pirate ship at the end where they do find the treasure and they're able to stay.
So it's very much a product of that period in the 80s where Steven Spielberg was basically producing everything.
Yeah.
Yes. I was talking to my brother about this. Why Spielberg? I think Spielberg now. We were talking about this actually. Spielberg now feels like more like a grandfather who's like, I'm going to tell you a story. Like, it might be a little boring,
right?
But you're still probably going to enjoy it. But you're going to wish that I was telling.
You'll be better off for it.
Yeah. But back in the 80s, what he did so well was he brought fantasy to your backyard.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, all his films were about like you in your suburban house or wherever you lived, in your backyard, something amazing could happen.
Yeah. Yep.
And I think that's why his films are so successful then and really resonated with us. And this is exactly that. It's like these kids, and I mean, this happened to me. I watched this movie, and if I saw like my family lived near this big open field where there were all sorts of like down trees and all sorts of stuff, and I would fill up a backpack full of stuff, and I'd go explore this thing because I wanted to have like a Goonie adventure.
Yeah.
In my neighborhood, I wanted to do something.
Start swearing randomly.
Exactly. So I think that's what the huge. I think that's what the huge appeal of this movie was like some adventure that could literally be in your backyard.
Yeah. This is another one of those.
That's really interesting.
This is another one of those that ultimately, like, they don't make them like this anymore kind of movies. because, like you were saying, Brian, like kids movies back in the 80s, or movies that were about kids, like they all had this element, the good ones rather, the Spielberg ones, like they all had this element of danger, you know, like the stakes felt very real. And I just, it's like you're saying, it's like you wish, as crazy and as dangerous as it was, like you wish you could be a part of this adventure. And it's sort of sad that like that, I don't know if it's just that they choose to not make movies like that anymore, or if movies like that wouldn't work, or times are changing or whatever, but it's like I could easily picture, like if they were to remake Goonies now, like I could picture the ABC Family version. It's like the Fratellis are played by like Cuba Gooding Jr. and Horatio Sands, and Ma Fratelli is that weird-looking girl from Drew Carey.
So they're
with the
played
clown
for
eye makeup.
laughs.
Yeah, and it's like, you know, they say
The
zoinks
danger
a lot, and they
doesn't
fall
feel
over each
real.
other. Yeah, and
Yeah.
it's just like,
Well, think of
they don't
Jack
make
the
them
Giant Slayer.
yeah,
Like, I mean, are those giants intimidating at all? No. Like, they don't look real. You know what I mean? Like, but in this movie, like, they're in these really wet caves, and they're in these, you know, when they find that Chester Copperpot, you know, the old explorer who was looking for the pirate ship and didn't make it, like, he's a gross-looking skeleton. You know what I mean? And I remember there's a part where where Mikey's reaching for the wallet to see if it is Chester Copperpot or not, and then the skull comes off of the skeleton, and they're all like cringing. And I remember as a kid cringing watching that. It's like scary. Yeah. And then, you know, all the booby traps too. You know, like giant rocks falling from the ceiling. They're actually, I mean, obviously they're fake, but I mean they're literal things
real
that were
rocks.
in a
People
studio.
actually died.
Well, no, but I mean, it's not like some big CG rock that has no weight to it that you know is not going to hit anybody. You know what I mean? Like if they at least put something in that room that these kids were running away from, and I think
It's something
that's
to play off of.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I really think that's to the film's benefit and to the detriment of films.
Well,
today.
Sean, I mean, you work in kids programming. I mean, isn't that basically a no-no, putting kids in actual jeopardy?
Yeah, I mean, with
well, they got to put them in actual jeopardy.
Well, I mean,
are you talking about actors, or are you talking about in the context of the story?
In the context of the story, I mean.
I mean, they point guns at the kids in this movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you would never see that today. There's no way.
You know, and like,
yeah, well, you know what, and they should. By God, I'm just kidding.
No, I remember, like, you know, and this was Disney too, but like, you know, the old Disney afternoon cartoon block with like DuckTales and Tailspin and Darkwing Duck. Look at YouTube, the opening title sequence. There's guns. The police officers have actual guns in Darkwing Duck. But like, with all these, like, you know, censorship things and parents that complain and, you know, standards and practices stuff, like everything is so dumbed down, and like you're not allowed to accidentally offend anybody at any time. So like everything has to be so right and PC, and like, you know, there's this whole thing like in with children's programming, there's this whole thing about imitatable behavior.
Right.
And the weird thing about coming off of the Tron cartoon, which if anybody's seen it, it's pretty violent, and a lot of people get killed and like diced up in this show. But it's like, oh no, because when they get killed, they magically sprinkle into these, you know, glowing cubes. So it's like kids can't imitate that. I'm like, oh well, they could try. Like, watch what happens.
Yeah.
It's all these weird.
You know, what I thought was interesting about this though is with this, we're talking about the Spielberg element to this. I'd reading up on this that Spielberg, you know, directed some scenes in this film, and I saw an excerpt from Sean Astin wrote a book called There and Back Again, and he talks about Spielberg and Richard Donner being co-directors on this, which I find interesting because it reminds me of also Poltergeist, which there's sort of this like urban legend that film is really directed by Steven Spielberg rather than Tobe Hooper. But anyway,
wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah. I mean, it's got his fingerprints all over it. I mean, it's a story, I guess, that he conceived and that he gave to Chris Columbus, who he knew through Gremlins.
Right. Yeah.
Because Chris Columbus originally wrote Gremlins, which Spielberg sort of shepherded, and then brought him on to write Goonies.
Yeah.
I think Spielberg just hangs out on the set, and like when the director is saying something, he's just kind of like, like no, nothing.
Hilarious.
It doesn't
do
feel,
that. Sure, yeah.
It doesn't feel like a Richard Donner movie to me, or a traditional Richard Donner movie to me in that sense.
I agree.
it feels. I feel more of the Spielberg influence.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Goonies is a movie that absolutely matters, and hopefully our discussion prompts people to want to go check it out.
Sure
if they
does.
haven't already. As we do each week, we usually have a pop culture quiz. This week, Sean will be the dungeon master administering our punishment. What's the topic this week, Sean?
Coming off of, I'm sure we're still recovering from our Oscar parties, so let's keep it in that similar vein. This will be an Oscar-themed quiz.
Okay.
Zaki, by the way, is going for his third victory in a row. So see if you can knock him off the totem pole there, Brian.
Let's see what happens.
All right.
Let's
see what I can do.
Quiz. Let's see. Avatars. Well, since we were just talking about Goonies, why don't the avatars be a character from Goonies?
Data.
That's funny. I was going to say that. Mouth.
Data and Mouth. All right.
No. I got to be Chunk.
Do you gotta really?
Sloth, love, Chunk.
All right, here we go. So it's Chunk versus Data. All right. Question number 1. Denzel Washington has been nominated for 6 Academy Awards, taking home 2. Which of the following films did not earn him an Oscar nod? The Hurricane, Glory, Cry Freedom, or Philadelphia?
Data.
Chunk.
Data.
Philadelphia.
That is correct.
Yeah.
He won, Cry Freedom, he was nominated for supporting actor. Glory, he won for supporting actor. Malcolm X and The Hurricane, he was both nominated for lead actor. He won for Training Day, and he was nominated for Flight. So
there we go.
Pretty good.
Wow,
there.
not a bad percentage there.
All right, question number 2. Name the only 3 films to be nominated, 3 animated films to be nominated for Best Picture.
Chunk.
Go ahead.
Name all 3?
Yeah.
Beauty and the Beast.
Correct.
Toy Story 3?
Toy Story 3.
Up.
That's correct. Good job.
Wow.
Yes.
Good job.
Yeah, Beauty and the Beast 91. Up was 2009, and Toy Story 3 was 2010. Both of those years, I believe, is when they switched to the 10 Best Picture nominees, right?
Mm-hmm.
Wow,
I remember it was a big deal when Beauty and the Beast came out because there were still just the 5 nominees.
Yeah, that was 1992, I think.
Question number 3.
All right. This is a competition. This is getting exciting. Let's do this. I am sick of looking myself in the leaderboard at the bottom.
Yeah, with your sad face. Yeah.
Question number 3. Name the only 2 directors to have directed themselves to acting Oscars.
Whoa.
Hint, one was in 1948 and one was in 1998.
Directed.
2 directors directed themselves to acting Oscars. 1948, 1998.
Well, I know one of them, Chunk. Benicio del Toro. Roberto Benigni, or what's his name? Life is Beautiful.
That's true.
Yeah.
48.
I couldn't tell you. I have no idea.
It's a pretty big name from old movies. A big fancy sounding name.
Errol Flynn.
Spencer Tracy.
Nope.
Errol Tracy.
Kind of French sounding.
Voulez-vous coucher wa abattoir? I have no idea.
Brian, you have a guess? Junk.
I don't know that I do.
Laurence Olivier for Hamlet.
Fine, whatever.
All right. Question number 4.
So wait, who gets that one? Nobody, right?
Nobody.
Okay.
So still 1-1. Question number 4.
Do I get half a point?
Sure, we'll give you half.
You don't.
I got a couple of tiebreakers too. So.
All right.
Question number 4. You're each going to be able to guess on this one. But the first person who chimes in gets to guess first. Okay. Dame Judi Dench took home the trophy for Best Supporting Actress.
I love it.
For 1998's Shakespeare in Love. Her performance goes on record as being the shortest performance to ever win an Oscar. What is the length of her performance?
Data.
Chunk.
Go ahead, Data.
5 minutes.
Chunk.
I was going to go 7.
The correct answer is 8 minutes.
Oh!
Ooh.
Fine. So Chunk gets this one.
So, Zaki,
That must have been a hell of an 8 minutes.
Yeah. Did she sing "I Dreamed a Dream"? That would have been the deal maker.
All right. Okay.
Question.
Nobody ever says Dame Judi Dench tries too hard.
No, she makes it look effortless. She makes it look good. All right.
You know who does try too hard?
Yes.
Anne Hathaway. All right, go on.
I agree. Move on.
Question number 5. Now, Zaki, you can still get this one because it's 2-1 here.
Yeah.
3 films hold the record for most total Oscar awards with 11.
Data.
Go ahead.
Ben-Hur, Titanic, Return of the King.
That is correct.
Yeah.
Return of the King, by the way, went 11 for 11 in 2003.
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
Wow.
All right, so that's good because I got 2 tiebreakers here.
Okay.
So here we go. Tiebreaker number 1.
I have a half point, but whatever.
In 1991, this man became the youngest ever to receive a Best Directing nomination.
What year?
91.
Youngest
to receive a directing
nomination
in 1991. What won that year? That was Silence of the Lambs. I have no idea.
Chunk, I guess. I got nothing to lose.
Go for it.
I don't know. I don't know.
John Singleton for Boys in the Hood.
Good one. 24.
24, jeez.
Okay. Right, the other tiebreaker. This comedian hosted the 60th Annual Academy Awards on April 11th, 1988. His one and only time going solo after having hosted the previous year with Paul Crocodile Dundee and Goldie Hawn.
Wait,
Who
what?
is this comedian?
Crocodile Dundee hosted the Oscars?
Yeah,
What?
in 87, Crocodile Dundee, Goldie Hawn, and this
And
comedian.
this person hosted the Oscars?
Yeah, and then the following year, it was just this comedian.
Has he ever hosted again?
No, this is one and only time.
Is he a TV star or a movie star?
I don't know.
Goldie Hawn, Crocodile Dundee. This sounds like something made up from The Simpsons.
Yeah, I know.
You guys definitely know who this guy is, by the way. We all know who this guy is.
Do we respect him?
His earlier work, for sure.
Really?
Yeah.
Is he a talk show host?
Is he bigger than a bread box?
He's bigger than a bread box.
Oh, brother.
Give me something.
Trying not to give it away.
Is he a TV star or a movie star?
Was he old at the time?
No, he was not old at the time. She's a pool waitress.
Data. No,
Yeah.
wait. Is it? Wait. Is it Chevy Chase?
It is Chevy Chase.
Ah.
Chevy Chase hosted the Oscars?
Yeah,
I did
1988.
not know that.
Huh.
Oh, okay. Wow, good deal.
All right, so it seems like the last few times there's been like some sort of protest as to who's really won this competition because of questions where you both don't get all the all the ones.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna
Yeah, I
let
think
you
ones
guys
with two
decide who wants to
questions with two answers are difficult.
win. Yeah.
So don't have those anymore.
Yeah, I'm just gonna say you both won. How's that?
That's some bullshit right there. That's what I think.
Who likes me more?
I don't care. Zaki can have it.
Who likes me more?
Yeah, that's right. I'll win in the worst way if I have to.
Here's a tiebreaker. Who likes me more?
That would be Brian.
Sean. That'd be Zaki. Yeah.
Nobody wants to claim you, Sean. Okay, so that wraps up another episode of the Movie Film Podcast. Brian, where can people find you on the internet?
At everythingbrian.blogspot.com. Brian with an I.
And Sean?
Moosehub.com. And as always, MrBoyProductions.com and also MovieFilmPodcast.com.
Everybody got that? Good. You can find me at zakiscorner.com, that's ZAKIS Corner, as well as at the Huffington Post, where my review of Oz the Great and Powerful has just gone live, so you can check that out and leave an angry comment like that guy whose thing I read earlier today. On behalf of my colleagues Sean Coyle and Brian Hall, my name is Zaki Hassan. That wraps it up for another Movie Film Podcast. Please do look for us on Facebook and online. We will see you in 2 weeks.
Happy birthday, Paul.
Welcome, friends.